So good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for another edition of Kaizen Weekly Book Review. We're excited that we started. Oh, okay, so good evening, everyone. We're excited to have you on this call, and thank you so much for always joining us every week to review books that will add value to our personal development and also make us better in our lives. Okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we started with a new book, Atomic Habit by James Clear. And now we've started the review. Last week, we did a review of the first law, which is make it obvious. And we were taking through that lovely book by one of our great reviewers. And it was really, really, really interesting. She really took us through that book, that chapter last week. And Morade also facilitated. So today we'll be doing the next chapter, which is another exciting chapter that we'll be doing today. And we have one of our very energetic, very productive and active youths. Someone I really admire and I love her energy. Her name is Hilda Enyoko. And she'll be taking us through the second chapter under the part 1. And she'll be telling us about how do we start building the habit itself. So I'll hand over the mic or an invisible portal to Hilda so that she can take us through. She has about 15 to 20 minutes and then we'll open the floor for others to contribute. Hilda, over to you. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you again, Cousin, for this opportunity. Okay, so I have on a slide, so I'd like to share my screen. Thank you.
Sorry, Hilda, you can proceed to share your screen. I've granted the access, so please go ahead.
Okay, thank you.
Hilda, while you're sharing your screen, you can start.
Okay. So this evening, we'll be reviewing chapter 2.5, part 2.5 of the book Atomic Habits. The title of our chapter this evening is The Best Way to Start a New Habit. Okay. Okay, so this chapter focuses on 2 of the best ways to start a new habit and inherently stick to it. Just confirm if you can see my screen.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I can also try to share from here while just continue. I'll try. Okay, yes, coming up now. Yes. Coming up. Yes, we can see it. You might also want to raise your voice
this
a bit.
chapter. Oh, okay. Am I audible?
Yes, you are. So go ahead, please.
Okay. Yes. So this chapter focuses on 2 of the best ways to start a new habit and inherently stick to it. Okay, so the 2 ways James Clear highlighted in these chapters are implementation, intention, and habit stacking. Okay, so we'll start with implementation intention. Okay, so personally, I defined implementation intention as the articulation of your intent to implement a new habit. Okay, so the illustration used by James Clear in this chapter was the outcome of a research carried out in Great Britain, where a couple of people were brought together with the purpose, with the goal to improve their exercise into 3 groups. So the first group we're told to only track how often
Hilda, your
they
background is not
exercise.
very
The
clear, or
second,
is it my network? I want to speak directly to your device. The voice is not very clear.
okay, yeah, I'm sorry. Is it clear now? Is it better?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so I said the first group were told to only track how often they exercise. So probably the belief here was that as they track how often they exercise, they would see where they're lagging and then with time. But no particular plan was put in place. Then the second group were told to track how often they exercise, and then they were given motivation materials. I'm thinking maybe books and maybe videos to watch for them to see the importance of exercising. And the third and final group were given the same presentation as the second group. They were given the same the same action plan to track how often they exercise, to read through materials. Also told to formulate an exercise schedule stating when and where they would exercise every week. So the difference between the third group and the last group was that they had to actually intentionally plan how they wanted to achieve. So in the long run of this exercise, only 35 to 38% of the other groups experience a sort of improvement in their exercise habits. But for the third group, 91% of them experience improvement in their exercise habits. It shows how effective the implementation intention plan is. So the question is why does this work? Why does this work better than those that only even got the material swing? Those who got the material swing, so they could have experienced improvements as well. But what's the difference between those actually and those that were just like give me go ahead to do? Okay, so the difference is that implementation intention gives you clarity on what needs to be done for you to excel at your new habits. It's one thing to be motivated to hit the gym, to eat healthy, or to finish a book. It's another thing to actually have a concrete plan to achieve. For instance, now let's take exercising. It's one thing for us to say, okay, we're going to finish this book, Atomic Habits. But it's another thing for us to point out, okay, every week we're going to finish a chapter, and by the end of that week, we come together and we go. Because we have this plan, we have some sort of clarity, and we know that this goal is actually achievable and it's measurable. Okay, so the second method was habit stacking. Okay, so for habit stacking, I think one of the things the author used to explain habit stacking was the life of an artist, a French philosopher, sorry, that lived in abject poverty, but then at some point he decided to purchase his library and maybe him, make him her librarian, and then he acquired a lot of wealth. So he bought himself a very expensive gift, and then he noticed that that gift did not quite fit into the um into the aesthetic of his home. Since he lived in abject poverty, such a rich gift did not fit into the aesthetic of his home. So he decided to begin to change the things in the home, and eventually kept on buying and buying. So this is the same idea about habit stacking. So habit stacking is basically tying our new and desired behavior to the activities, to the things we already do every day. So oftentimes our desire to build new habits come in isolation from our everyday lives. What I mean is we often forget or neglect the fact that our new habits need to fit in seamlessly with our already existing routine. I personally believe that for habit stacking, you also need to hold on to the principle of when and where. When, what time in my daily routine will this habit come in? Where would I be at this point where this habit is coming in? For instance, I personally would like to make my daily devotion part of my life. So a good way to fit this is through habit stacking. Okay, so to make this effective, James Clear was that I start by listing out all my activities for the day. So I'll start waking up. mm, So I'll list out waking up, turning off the alarm, rolling on the bed for a while, finally standing up, and then brushing my teeth, bathe, and so on and so forth. So in between the time I roll on the bed and contemplate whether or not I want to even go to work that day and eventually get up from bed, I can fit in my daily devotion. So what I mean is I'm trying to like place the activity, the new habit, the devotion in between two things that I know that I'll definitely do. So I know I'll definitely wake up, I'll definitely roll a bit, and I would eventually get up from bed. So that time between time I roll a bit on the bed and the time I eventually get up from bed and go to class, I can do my daily devotion. So to make this easier, I can even take a step further, bringing in the implementation intention and place my Bible or whatever material I want to use my daily devotion on the bed. So every time I wake up in the morning while I'm rolling, I see the Bible. So I get that cue as this is referring to the review we had last week, chapter read last week. So I get that cue to read my Bible. So and then I have the devotions. That's routine. So okay, next hello cousin, next slide, please. Okay, so so overall, if you look at the comment here, so you'd see how the time is there's a time placement. I believe for habit stacking, you also need to consider. I said earlier, you also need to consider your time constraints. So you can try. You might not be accurate per se when you're trying to fit things into your schedule, but it removes this ambiguity of when and where. For instance, okay, you might want to bring in habits of always hitting the gym. For instance, we want to bring in habit of always hitting the gym. Okay, so you might want it to be very early in the morning or maybe in the evening. So what you have to do is to analyze and evaluate your routine. And then when you analyze and evaluate your routine, you would know what time is the best convenience for you so that it doesn't have to come down to a scenario where okay, it's a new day and then you are confused. You don't know when you want to do that habit. You just know you have this drive. Eventually you might not get to. So the first law of behavioral change, as James Clear is to make it obvious. So with habit stacking and implementation, we create obvious cues for our new habits. We make we have as I said earlier, there's no ambiguity. There's proper clarity. You know what you want to do. You know when you want to do it. You know where you want to do it. So with ease, you can build a new habit. You can transform life basically. All it is a step at a time and proper plan thinking.
All right, thank you, Hilda, for the presentation. Unfortunately, the audio was not very clear, very painful, but I tried to listen well, and I was able to pick that Hilda actually prepared well, like you can see in the slide, and then you can also see If you manage to listen, you'll get it. Hilda, thank you for the preparation and thank you for the presentation as well. So just to add, and the floor is also open if you have anything to add, I'll just take like a minute or two and then I'll open the floor for comments from our participants. The best way to start a new habit is the title of the book. That is the chapter 5 of the book itself. And then that's the second part of the first law, which is make it obvious, right? This chapter is very practical and they have made it so relatable for us to be able to push further in terms of dealing the being deliberate about new habits. And they started with a researcher from Great Britain that had people into three categories. Number one, just give them clear instruction. Just give them instruction. Number two, give them instruction and give them commitment on how to get it done. And then from the review, it became clear that people that they were giving instruction on how and when to do it in terms of time and location tends to do the real habits they wanted them to do, meaning that it is important to be more specific about how we drive some of these habits. And two things that Hilda, I know on our slide, if you see this slide, the slide mentioned two key things from this chapter. Implementation intention. You need to be deliberate and intentional about implementing something. And if you look at the image, she said, she gave us two examples to drive home the point. One of them is, I want to exercise more. Very vague, no commitment, no clarity as to what to be done. And the next one is, I will go for a run at 6 p.m. in the park. Two things was embedded in the second one. The time I will do it and where, the location where I'll be doing it. And if you look at the outcome, one, very sad, unhappy, did not achieve whatever he wants or whatever he planned to do. The second one, excited because she was very deliberate. That is what James Clear called implementation intention. For you to start building a new habit, you need to be intentional about that implementation. You need to come up with, I want to do this at this time, and I want to do it not only at this time, and this is where I'll be doing it. And you must put conditions and things in place to make that achievable. That is the implementation intention. Personally, I thought about this and I looked at it. Oh, okay, so these are the level of things. So a lot of us, we do a lot of things, but we need to now be specific to say, I want to be reading my book at this time, at this place. That will make us conscious about it. And I would really want to plead with all of us to experiment this and do it. The second one that James Clear spoke about is habit stacking, meaning that it's like using, when I was reading it, what came into my mind is meat pie. You want to eat the fluffy part of meat pie and you're now stacking it within flour. So for me now, I now looked at it, oh, okay, I can actually be, what stops me from doing 10 sit-up every time I finish praying in the mosque? What stops me? After I've prayed and I've done my basic invocations, why can't I just do 10 immediately? So James Clear is saying you can also stack habits into what you are sure that you will definitely do. For us Muslims, we pray 5 times daily. Sure banker, we must do it. Can you stack the new habit you want and put it and pad it with it? Don't make it too long, don't make it too complicated, but you can pad it into it, right? A lot of us you want to eat healthy. Maybe what you should stack it with is, on my way to the office, I will eat this kind of food, right? What James Clear is saying is just take something that you know it is very sure that you always do, pad it into it, and let it be part of the stack of habits that you will do. It will not be like the horse and the cat. The existing habit that you are used to and it's a sure banker that you always do it will now be the one pulling the new habit along. So the strategy is for us to implement these two these new ways of adopting new habits. So today I was really thinking about so many because I have about 3 habits that I've been struggling to adopt. And today I'm very clear about how to stack it and how to be intentional about the implementation. So James Clear is telling all of us, and Hilda is also emphasizing it and explaining it to us that what we need to do, that habit that you have been struggling to get, that gym you've been struggling to eat, right? That healthy eating that you've been struggling to do, that's daily reading habit you've been struggling to just put it into it. For example, I go to a class every Saturday by 7 a.m. Most of the time, my lecturer will come late, maybe 7:30 sometimes. What I do now is I find it difficult to read the Kaizen book, but I carry it along. Once I get to the class, I will not allow anybody to disturb me. I'll just sit in my corner, open the book, and be reading it. I know some people in the class will be looking at this guy has been reading this book for the past 3 weeks. They'll be laughing at me. But the truth is, there is no week that I do not read at least 5 pages during that time before my class starts. So what it's telling us is I can now deliberately write it down as a way to build a new habit to say, I will ensure that I read 3 pages before my class starts. That means that I may deliberately need to arrive at the class earlier. I may need to be very deliberate. And then when I get there, I will not go and stay where people will distract me. I will stay in my little corner, quickly read. The lecturer picks up the pen, I drop the book and go. Right? Another example is stacking it. So that first one, implementation intention, you need to now voice it. In fact, I said it at some point that you need to tell yourself and start configuring your mind to say that I would like to do this by this time at this place. I will go to the gym every Tuesday by 6 p.m. Which gym are you going to? I'm going to the gym at this particular place. And then stacking is identify an existing habit that you are used to that is sure that you're always doing. Stack it with the new habit and let that old habit that you're used to pull along that, that new habit. So that is a way to replenish and help ourselves to learn new habits and adopt them. So, in the summary of the chapter, number one, that James Clay said, number one, the first law of behavior change is make it obvious. A meaning of this is implementation intention is making it obvious. Habit stacking is making it obvious. So that is a deliberate act to put it at the forefront and make it something that is primary and important to you. The second thing, the two most common cues are time and location. Those are the things that can make you give you the urge, give you the zeal, give you the motivation, the place and the time. And he warned us about picking the right time. Don't pick the wrong time. When you know you are useless, you are already tired. I will read my book at 11:30 when I come back to the office. And then once you jump onto the bed, first line you are off. Said you should review it and pick a good time. The third thing he said about the summary is creating an implementation intention is a strategy you can use to pair a new habit with a specific time and location. That is implementation intention. And he said that the implementation intention formula is I will, that is the habits, the behavior I want to do at time and location. And the next one is habit stacking is a strategy you can use to pair a new habit with a current habit. So an existing habit that you're used to, sure banker that you're always doing it, use it to pull a new habit to yourself and add it to it. And lastly, the habit stacking formula is after current habits, right, I will do this. So for me, I said, anytime I go to the mosque to pray, I will do 10 sit-up before I leave. 10 sit-up doesn't take more than 2 minutes. But all of us will find it difficult to do this. And if I do sit-up, this my fat tummy will disappear. Do you understand? So I'm just saying that it's an interesting way for us to pull all of this along. So chapter 5 of James Clear. The floor is still open. We still have about 2 minutes. chapter 5 of the Atomic Habit by James Clear is teaching us two things: the secret of adopting and learning and getting used to new habits. So, if you've been struggling with any habit, this is the formula to it. Two formulas: implementation intention, that is, pair that habit to time, and location, right? That solves the first problem. The second method you can also use is habit stacking, which is uh, uh, merge or align that new habit with an existing habit so that you can use it to pull it along the way. So that is what we are trying to pass across today. Thank you so much, Hilda, for the wonderful presentation. And you can see, I hope Hilda will not still sue me for using a slide from my own comment. So Hilda, you have done a fantastic presentation. And it showed that you prepared very well with the beautiful slide. And I've also shared the slide with colleagues in the chat so that at least they can also benefit from it. So we have about a minute to go. Next week is our Kaizen game night. And we're going to be doing from chapter 1 to chapter 5 of this book. For sure, we should all know that this chapter, at least about 3 questions will be coming out from it, because it's a very practical and relatable chapter. So we want all of us to prepare. There are cash prizes for the first 3 winners. It's been very interesting. So the questions we'll be using Slido for it. So please tell families and friends. Our goal remains the same. We're very consistent about it. We want to revive reading culture. We want to let people enjoy what are the beautiful things that these writers are putting in these good books. A lot of us, we can better ourselves and get better and improve in the way we think, the way we do things in our life, and be more productive by just reading. So please help us in driving this strategy by following our social media handles. We're on LinkedIn, Kaizen Reading Group. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Where again? We're on X. So we are all of the popular platforms. You can join us and follow us as well. And we have a WhatsApp group. If you're interested, you can just drop. I think we usually share it in this chat. You can join us as well. If you visit our LinkedIn page, you will see it. You will see it there. So see you next week for another exciting Kaizen game night, and be prepared to win our prizes and also learn to improve in the way you read and the way you grow. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a lovely night. Bye bye. Thank you, Hilda. Bye bye.